Welcome everyone to another episode of Street Scene Power Hour. We've got Larry Ward. Larry Ward is one of our hosts. We've got Rick Guerrera. This time it's little Rick Guerrera. I call him Little Rick because we have another guest. Well, our other guest is Big Rick. Big Rick he is a DJ here around the area. We are also welcoming legend Thomas John. Somewhere. Oh, there he is. Yes. And Amy. Amy, introduce yourself and let you know where you just introduce yourself, Amy.
Thank you. Amy Spoutz. I am the marketing manager for Athens County Convention and Visitors Bureau, but my main job is Ohio's 29 motorcycle and car routes.
All right, Larry. I tell you what, Larry, you've invited Amy. We're just getting introduced to Amy, and we're glad to have her here. Larry, why don't you take it away from with this right now?
Oh, absolutely. I met Amy several years ago at the motorcycle show. It was called the Progressive International Motorcycle Show at the IX Center that usually comes the last weekend of January, which we're all happy to see because we're ready to do something. And it's about 6 weeks away from Daytona. So everybody's looking at new bikes and accessories and stuff. And one day I stumbled upon Amy Spoutz and her crew, which were talking about Athens County, and we get down in that area a lot, and 9 very specific routes called the Windy 9. And so I embarked on doing those, a couple here and there, and actually after about 2 or 3 years now, I've done all 9 routes. And we call them like hub and spoke kind of things, where you can go down. They'll give you a map. Either you can go to the Convention Bureau or you can go to one of the sponsoring hotels, and they'll give you a map and you can read the routes and stuff like that, and you can decide what to do. So the host hotels also at that time, don't show off to update this, but they had a really cool embroidered patch that you could have for just staying at the hotel and doing those routes. So you go down there, you stay Friday night, you go into town. Obviously, that's Ohio University, nice college town. We use that as the hub and the spokes of the various routes that we would go out on. And of course, you know, it's a great weekend. You know, it's what we call a one tank trip kind of weekend, where it's 200 miles from where we're at. We can get down there, enjoy a nice long ride on Saturday. If you want to go swimming afterwards, go to the bars in town and that. Then Sunday morning, finish up some work, maybe finish a little bit of another ride, and then on back home. So let's talk a little bit about the Windy 9. Now, why don't you, Amy, talk about the routes and specifically the various different ones, where they go in and out of, and also the host hotels, and how people can go get a map and find out a little bit more about it and ride it this year.
Wonderful. Thank you. I'm excited to be here. So as Larry said, we met at Chicago and Cleveland, and this year we didn't get to travel. We didn't get to have outspoke. So there's different things that we're doing right now to keep our riders involved in our area. So like Larry said, we are 9 routes. All of our routes start in Athens and ends in Athens. It's 9 routes, 1,000 miles. Our destination is to bring you into the Athens County area, but also filter you out through the Appalachian region. We're only 40 minutes from West Virginia. We're all nothing but coal mine towns. We are very small towns. And what's so great about us, we are very, very motorcycle friendly. So all of our hotels, all 17, 18 of them that's located here in Athens County, are all focused toward that motorcycle rider. So people ask me how you guys are doing. So with that said, they're great partners. We are very interested. Yes, we do give the maps, but you can also request the maps from my office, because I am the one that personally still mails out 300 maps every 2 weeks. So we are growing. This is our 4th year as a Windy 9. So we have becoming the riding destination. We are the first destination before you get down to the West Virginia, Kentucky, and Tennessee and North Carolina. So we are looking to branch into regionally market with the Appalachian region out back, so we can all be together. So. But it's great. Our riding season started last week. I have a couple groups. I got national rallies coming in. So it's really have grown into it. And especially with the year of COVID, I'm amazed at how busy we are.
I am not, because many of the events that are going to take place this year are that I'm attending, that if you didn't book your hotel 2 months ago, you're probably not going to get in right at the scene. You might get a secondary hotel. But in sharing my experiences with the Winding Nine, there's something there for everybody. Like if you like to sport bike it and drag a knee and scare yourself a little bit, you definitely can do that. If you're on a cruiser type bike with your significant other in the back, you can cruise around. You can be down on the Ohio River or all the way up to Zanesville or all the way over to almost to Marietta. So there's a variety of things that you can do. One of the big attractions is the Big Muskie, and I'll see if you want to talk about that.
The Big Muskie is located on our Rim of the World, which is our first route on Ohio's Winding Nine. The Big Muskie is what it sounds like. It's an old earth moving machine that when they were moving the earth from the coal mines, they could not take it out. It's still stuck where it originally is. So when you talk about the old Muskie and you see these big guys, it's like, we're going to go take our picture. They're 6, 8, 7 foot. When I get this picture, it's like they look this little big because park your bike. So it's one of the big destination, a long history with the Big Muskie, and it's part of the Appalachian region, but they just couldn't move it, so it's still there. So with our map too, as Larry has pointed out, our map gives you turn by turn, and it's also color coded. It tells you where you can have your lunch, where you can have your dinner, and it gives you all those sightseeing adventures too. So we are just not for the average rider. People will call and say, I want to go fast, I want to ride hard. It's like, okay. And they said, I have a newbie. So I send them down along the Ohio River because it's just more slow turns and everything. So, but each of our routes has something to offer every single one. So, and like you said, there is so much to do, just not in the Athens area, but outside of the area. So, and it's a beautiful area.
So all bikes are welcome then, right? So if I bring my Harley and everything, it's good.
Yeah,
okay,
absolutely. So yes, so Harleys, yes, because we have a great Athens sports cycle that works well with me, especially with these trips, because riding has become the economic development for our region. So it's just amazing. And like I said, just not for Athens or the county, but for those small mom and pops, like he was talking, the Triple Nickel Diner is doing great. And I mean, they welcome them because people come in, they are wanting to spend money. So yes, we have the weekends, but I get the people who really want to do the sightseeing, spend the money midweek. Midweek's a great time to come here. A lot of our routes, people ask me how, packed we are. 9 routes, 1,000 miles. But what's so great about it, there's not an interstate near us. So all the country roads, I mean, everyone goes out around us, but there's hardly any heavy trucks, school buses or anything. You may run into a horse and buggy because we are very Amish in some of our routes, but it's the beauty of it. So our traffic, minimal, no, like the heavy trucks, nothing. So
great.
One of the things that, if I may, Greg, that's really neat about this is that, like, if you come out of Zanesville and you're heading south down towards the river, everybody's heard of the Triple Nickel, but if you ride that in the spring, it's completely different than if you ride it in July. And the reason being is that in the spring, you can sight through the corners because the corn's not up. But if you wait till, the knee high by the 4th of July corn crop, now you got trouble sighting through the curves, and then it's a little different challenge. If you want to keep the speed up and you like to do that kind of stuff. So the routes change in that, and there's so much varied things. Like if you come down 77 and you start to veer off to get onto one of the Winding Nines, there's the old Shenandoah wreckage down there. And at one time, well, they still have a little museum inside a fire department building in that, but the Shenandoah went down in, I think, 1937 or something like that. It was a dirigible, and it was one of 2 of the huge dirigibles at that time, and it crashed right off of 77. You can go down there. So there's plenty to see, plenty to do, and it's all surrounded by a quaint little college town, Ohio University.
Yes, we're very lucky for it. I mean, they got together, and we had 4 riders that came together. It was our Harley Davidson shop, it was the BMW owner, and a local bar that was called the Skull. They said, you have to help us do a map. We're tired of telling people where to come down. So we said, bring us 4 maps, 4 routes back. They brought us 9. And so we were able, so they brought us 9. So that's what makes us unique. But we have been atop of the game because we have seen everyone around us starting to implement what we have done. So that has been interesting because they know there's money in motorcycles. Right now, we cannot stay with motorcycles in our shop because they're all going out the door. So, which I'm happy to see, because there for a while we were seeing a steadfast of no one really wanting to ride. It was just that one age group, but now we're getting the younger ones. So we do try to tailor each ride to the rider's wants and needs. So, but we're very grateful. Like I said, this is our 4th year. We have done very well. Marketing, hitting the shows, getting to meet people like Larry and doing a partnership with them, and working with Roadrunner. Roadrunner has been our #1 person that has helped us design the map.
The one thing you can do also, and it's so easy, is Windy, WINDY, the number 9.com, windy9.com, and it'll bounce you right into the website, which is one of the best ever to navigate. It'll tell you about all the different events going on through the year. There's blogs there. If you want to send them an information contact type of thing, you can get on and do that. So, and they're always available. And when you're there, they encourage you to stop by the Athens County Convention and Visitors Bureau.
Right. We'd love to see you guys. We love to hear the feedback about the routes. I ride, but it's also nice that I'm from here. You know, I know these roads like the back of my hand. So it's interesting to hear people from Michigan, Canada, telling us what they like about our routes. And first thing they'll say, you have the best kept roads ever. And coming from the Appalachian region property, we're the #1 county in Ohio. And so, but for us to say throughout the entire region, we have the best kept secrets. So the roads are great.
That's good because.
What do you ride? Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Little Sportster.
Sportster?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I was raised, my dad did sprint cars and NASCAR, and I was always at an enduro track. The only girl, so I was either join them or leave. So, but I enjoy it. But I also like to be on the back too, so I could sightsee and give the story. So, but I really, truly enjoy it. So.
Good.
I know you're wonderful to work with.
Well, Amy, I tell you what.
Oh, thank you.
Amy, we're going to get back to you in just a second, but I do want to get to, what goes hand in hand with a lot of, the bike riding and cars and everything is music. So, over here, we've got 2 legends that are DJs that are in the music business, that are everything in this area. And we have Rick and TJ. And, I want to start off with you, Rick. How long have you been doing what you do? Oh, I lost audio. Let's see. Let me ask him to unmute here. Rick, hit your unmute button there. There you go.
All right, how's that?
All right, there you go. I hear your voice.
Okay. Yeah, I hit the right button for once.
Yay!
Well, it all started with me back in the late 70s. I don't know if you remember. I'm sure TJ remembers Dr. Rock.
Yeah.
I started.
Sure.
I met him by accident down a radio station, late 1970s. And shortly after that, he had me doing stuff on the radio, just filling in. In 1982, we actually went mobile away from the radio station. We also was doing remotes and stuff with the radio station, but my mobile stuff actually started with Dr. Rock in 1982.
Wow. And you were working at the time too, right? This was just like a second job for you.
I worked at General Motors from 78 until 2012. Well, prior to that, I worked at General American too, but that's neither here nor there. But I worked at General Motors, but I was always a record collector. And how I met him is on Saturday nights, he used to do his cruise night. It was always call and stump the DJ. Well, everyone would call in, okay, you got this Beach Boys song, you got this Beatles song, whatever, or something like that. So I called him one night, I says, do you have a certain song? It's called Stick Shift. And he says, no, I don't. He says, hold on one second, because he used to record all this stuff. So he put another song on, he got on, he says, how do you know about the song Stick Shift? I said, well, I got a copy of it. Stick Shift was by the Duels. He goes, I'd love to have a copy of that. He said, I've been looking for that for umpteen years. Well, I found out where the radio station was downtown Warren. 20 minutes later, I was banging on the front glass holding up a record. So he come running to the door. He let me in, because if you ever been to a radio station down in the Courthouse Square, it was all glass front. He lets me in. I hand him the record. He looks at it. He goes, can I play it? I said, definitely. So he plays it. And he was just going nuts. He takes it back out and puts it back in the green sleeve, wipes it all down, puts it back, hands it back to me. I said, I didn't ask you for that back. I said, that's your record. He goes, I can't take your record. I said, I got another primo copy at home, just as good as that one. Well, that started our friendship.
I've never heard of them. Never heard of it.
You never heard of Stick Shift by the Duels?
No.
I know you're going to be a couple of shows I'm going to be doing, Rick and Greg.
Yes,
I will
we'll
put
be
that
there.
on. I will dedicate Stick Shift by the Duels to you guys from
Okay.
There
Street
we
Scene.
go. I tell
Is
you
that
what,
American?
you can't bang on the glass anymore. You get the cops called on you.
Yeah.
Shot.
Yeah, or worse.
Uh-huh.
Well, I
Or
tell you,
worse. Yeah.
Rick, you do a lot of shows around here. What shows do you do now?
Okay, well, I'll be starting off at the end of the month on the 25th, which is a Sunday, which is the all Corvette show at the Sharon Loop, downtown Sharon. The following Tuesday on the 27th, we do our kickoff cruise at Wedgwood Pizza, Raccoon Road.
Okay.
Then that weekend with Dave and Ed Swap Meet in Canfield, I'll be out Canfield all weekend long doing the sound. And then that Friday night, which would be the 30th of April, we start the Boardman Loop, 5 o'clock.
Beautiful.
And then on Sunday night,
That's Sunday night. Yeah.
that's Friday night is the Boardman
Friday
Loop.
night.
Oh, Friday's the Boardman. I'm sorry. I'm thinking of the
Yeah.
Austin one. Austin Town.
Yeah, no, well, Sunday on the May 2nd, we start the Sunday night cruise at the Austintown Loop.
And we're going to be graced with both of your presidents because we're going to have the Street Scene Car and Custom Bike Show on July 25th.
Right.
TJ is going to be doing that part of it, and then when we have the cruise down, Big Rick will be down there.
That's right.
doing the part. So we're going to have both you guys.
Well, Tom, TJ, I
Is that a
got to say
good
one
thing?
thing for you. Well, once you get there, you better come over and help me out.
Yeah, I just need my help.
Uh-huh.
Oh, yeah, you got to help me out. Yeah, then after that, basically everything going on. The 10th would be the second Monday of May. We start downtown Lowellville. Tuesday nights we do Buffalo Wild Wings, Austintown Plaza. Thursday nights we do El Cowboys, Wedgwood Plaza. Then back to the Friday and stuff like that. And a lot of one-day shows. So that's basically my summer going on right now. And I'm loving it. After last year, I got to get back out and start doing this stuff.
Yeah, you're gonna be a little rusty starting off then, because last year was.
Everybody will be.
Yeah.
I did a couple of shows last year, and I think the neighbors are starting to wonder about me because I'm out in the garage, practicing my voice.
He's not talking to himself. He's losing it.
The worst part about it, I'm talking to myself, but the worst part about it, I've never got a correct answer yet.
I was going to say, if you answer yourself, then there's problems. You can talk to yourself all you want.
Oh yeah,
Yes.
Well, it's the answers you got to find. You got to make sure you get the right answers.
TJ, you go ahead, Rick. Go ahead.
They did okay last year down Lowville, though. Rick.
Yeah, we started a little bit late in the year because of the COVID stuff.
But it
We
went
got started what? Probably June sometime, middle of June sometime, and after that we had great show every Monday night downtown Lowville. Yes.
Yeah.
Everybody kept their distance, so it's fine.
Right. We had the health department come down there. As a matter of fact, we had the health department come out a couple different cruises. And at the end of not at the end of the night, but during the thing, they came up to me and says, they're going good. Continue what you're doing.
Beautiful.
Good.
Yeah.
That's exactly what we
should-
wanted to hear.
Right.
It should be a little easier this year with the restrictions and everything. Hopefully,
Right. Well, hopefully they open it up a little bit more. So I don't think it's going to open up anymore, not for a while anyways, but I've already had so many people talking about it and stuff like that. We got a couple nice shows coming up that you guys might be interested in. I don't know if you know what Loghurst House is. It's If you're going up Route 224 towards Canfield out of Boardman, there's that old white house sitting up on a hill.
Mm-hmm.
They are doing something that's called basically. We're still working on the title for it. It's something called Save the Farm.
Okay.
On June 19th and July 24th. Those are both Saturday nights. We're doing Saturday nights at the movies. Bringing in a large projection screen, not projection screen, but a large movie screen.
Yep.
We're going to be showing a couple shows, a couple movies during the night. Plus, we're going to have a little car show, a little car rally out there. The public's invited. They're going to have concessions out there and stuff like that. Tours of the Loghurst House, and that may be something you guys might be interested in coming on out with Street Scene. Maybe film something like that with the old house.
Yeah, that's a place to see too, because if you haven't been out to the Loghurst, it is really interesting to see that.
Right. Yeah. Myself and Jerry Dixie, which I'm sure you guys know Jerry Dixie. Yep. We were out there the other day. We were out there Sunday. As a matter of fact, we got a private tour of the place. And a lot of the stuff they showed us that the general public doesn't even know about.
Yeah.
And I tell you what, I loved every second of it. The only thing is that every once in a while you hit that creaky board. I'm thinking to myself, am I going to fall through the floors? No, it's very secure in there. Very secure.
Maybe we get Amy to organize, a bike run or something over here.
Yeah,
More than happy to.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we're gonna start letting the cars come home anytime. But basically, we're starting at 5 o'clock.
Okay.
And we're gonna have a little bit of car show, doing some music and stuff like that until about 7 o'clock. They're gonna show our first short movie. That should last about an hour and a half, and then a little bit more music and stuff like that. And then 9 o'clock we're showing a movie. I really can't say what movie it is right now because they're still waiting to get the permission to show that movie.
Okay.
Yeah, it's gonna be. Both of them are gonna be car oriented, very car oriented.
There you go.
Yeah, Hollywood Nights, probably.
We're gonna have to talk to Jerry Dixie. His last name's politically incorrect anymore.
Well,
What's
if you
he
know
gonna
Jerry
do,
Dixie, as long as I've known him, we're both incorrect.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, speaking of politically incorrect, TJ.
And proudly so.
Now, TJ's been around the business since the beginning of time, which would be big band era, right?
Marconi.
Sorry, TJ. I gotta.
Marconi set up my first setup.
TJ,
Tell us where you started, BJ.
I only ever had one job. I started at HOT, April Fool's Day, 1972, and came there right out of college.
Day. Yep.
April Fool's Day, and ended on April Fool's Day.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, I didn't realize that until it happened. Came right out of college. In fact, I left college early, a quarter early, to come here because I was in telecommunications, had been for years, and I was in a fraternity. Most of the older guys had gone. I was the old guy that left. And everybody that I knew who was in telecommunications had graduated and was working at General Motors or at a record store, or no one was in radio. So somebody at HOT knew one of the professors and sent word over that they were looking for a copywriter. So he came into class one day. He said, "We think you should all go apply for it, even if you don't want it, just for the experience." So I came over and applied, and they said, "You can have it if you start on Monday." But it was the middle of the school year. But I'm looking around, I'm thinking, this is a chance to actually be in a radio station and not be somewhere else. So I took it and started that following week. Wow. And I had a quarter left of school. But the irony was, once I got started, all the guys I was writing copy for, that is the agencies around town, and there were 2 or 3 of them, all the guys who were salesmen were also teaching at YSU. They were teaching advertising at YSU. So after about a month, I'm doing all this stuff for them. And they said, "You know what, you're doing exactly what we're trying to teach our kids to do. Why don't you just sign up for the course?" And so I did. I signed up for 3 of their courses. I already basically had my final exam with them. So they gave me the 12 hours and I graduated. So I graduated from college, but my degree is still with Kent State, but I technically finished up my last 12 hours at YSU.
There you go.
And that was it. April 1st, 1972. Continuous line. A couple different owners, 3, I guess, maybe 3, 4. Yeah. I don't know.
Well, I'm thinking about it, DJ. I do want to wish you a happy retirement. I should have said that earlier, but happy retirement.
Thank you. And tell Jerry Dixie I said hi, by the way.
Okay. Well, I'll be meeting with him this coming Thursday anyway, so I'll tell him that you said hi to him.
Yeah, please do that.
All right.
In case you don't know, TJ's been in the business. He has wrapped up 49 years in the business of music.
You couldn't wait one more year.
Oh, believe me, I would have. I was there. I was ready to go, but COVID had a different idea.
No, well, we'll call it 50 because you would have been there if it wasn't for COVID. So,
absolutely.
I have one question, TJ. I've been dying to ask you. From 72, the whole time, what is one of the biggest movements of music, even, that you've seen? Like, from the stylish or the style or the kind of the biggest movements of music.
Well, I mean, the thing is, I did so many different kinds of music. When I started out, it was The Wizard. It was all album rock. And then I went right out of that and did top 40 and went out of that and did Music of Your Life for 5 years, which was big bands, Sinatra, Dean Martin.
Yep.
I did all that, and then started the Sunday Night Crew. I didn't start the Sunday Night Cruise. Bacho started the Sunday Night Cruise. I took it over, and then I wound up doing that for 23 years. I did the Sunday Night Cruise doo-wop longer than anything else that I did. And of all of that, really stepping back from what I was doing and looking at music, there's no question that the rise of rap is what changed music completely.
I never even dreamed of you saying that. I can't believe.
As far as ending one thing and beginning another.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, when I was doing the bars back in late 70s, early 80s, my God, there had to have been 35 bars a week that were running bands. Well, now you look around, and obviously it's because of COVID now, but before COVID came along, there were 6.
Yeah.
Mostly because there were no bands to go around, because nobody goes around doing rap live. It was just a whole different animal. And the whole idea of having those bands just went away. And I think, if you're looking for a major schism, that would be it. You're looking on one side and the other side of when the charts went rap, and in conjunction with going rap, all the music became electronic. So you could have this thing it may sounded like a band, but it wasn't.
Yeah.
And so there were no bands, and so there were no jobs for those guys who were coming up and wanted to be bands. And it just, I think back in late 60s when I was in high school and early 70s, if you wanted to be in a band, you could be in a band.
Yeah.
I was kind of I managed a couple of them.
Oh.
And, they were just, everybody wanted to be in a band. And that went away completely by the time we got to, I don't know, late 90s, early 2000s, whatever it was. But, going from there to now is a complete difference. There is nothing about, with the exception of country, and basically because country became rock.
Yeah.
You look at the country bands now. Oh my God, they're what we play on the Wizards. They're Marshall Tucker and the Outlaws, and they're not twanging. They twang a little bit, but they're rocking at the same time from one song to the next.
Yeah,
so country has really been the only one that has continued the musical continuum, while everybody else had to go off and do something else.
Yeah. Rick, same question for you.
Well, basically, TJ covered a lot of that stuff like that. One thing he was talking about the bands coming in and going out and stuff like that. And he's talking about the late 70s, early 80s, when we started to do our mobile work like that. And he's talking about the lack of bands at that time. Is a lack of DJs. And for a while there, I was working 7 nights a week because all these different bars and stuff, and I won't mention the bars throughout the Youngstown, Warren area, they wanted DJs every night of the week practically. And we were doing everything. And I got laid off from General Motors. Everybody got laid off once and twice. As soon as I found out I was laid off right away, my phone was ringing. Hey, I need you for Friday night. I need you for Thursday night. I need you for Tuesday. I was actually playing 7 nights a week at a lot of these bars and stuff like that.
While you were working also.
Yeah. Well, that's when we got laid off. And then when we got called back, which was a short period later like that, I was still doing 7 nights a week because I had like verbal contracts with all these bars, and I love doing it. I love people. I love, BS with the people. And I think you guys know that. And I just kept doing it and kept doing it and kept doing it up to this present day. And I'm doing right now, I'm doing basically I'm scheduled 5 nights a week now. A lot of times on the weekends, I'm doing double shows like the Dave and Ed Swap Meet. I'll be doing all day long Canfield Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and I'll be doing shows Friday night and Sunday night.
Jeez.
Yeah, that's good. That's busy.
And with like TJ going through, everything from a big band era all the way up to the rock, all the way up to the rap and stuff like that. I stick with my genre of 50s, 60s, 70s.
Yep.
Because that's basically what the car people and stuff want. And I think you guys know that going to different car shows. That's basically what you hear. And not really that much 70s. But there are some very, very good 70s songs that people like to hear. And I'll play the 70s when they ask for it. But basically, I'll stick with the 50s and 60s.
Sure. Absolutely.
So that's my genre of basically music right there.
Rick, when I worked at WKBN TV, it seemed like half the on-air guys were DJs. We had Dan Rivers and Rich Morgan. There's Jim Michaels doing it. I think Mark French might have been doing it. There was a bunch of them. Yeah.
Well, a lot of them were doing it through the radio station. We were doing mobile.
Even Dan Ryan. Dan Ryan started that too. Yeah.
Right.
Remember Dan Ryan? That's where he started
yeah,
that.
Sure, definitely. Yeah. And you're talking about the old WHOT days and stuff like that. A good memory I had when I was probably in the neighborhood of, I don't know, I was maybe 10, 12, 13, 14 years old. I wasn't even know, 10 or 12 years old. Boots Bell used to do Saturday Night Record Hop down at Avon Oaks and Girard.
Sure.
And I lived in the Girard area. I'd always get a ride down there or sneak down there, however down there to go to the record hop on Saturday nights with Boots Bell. And me and him became very good friends on Saturday nights. He even let me help him do records. I mean, I had to clean the records when he got done playing it. That's basically where I got. Every once in a while, he'd hand me a record and say, well, here's a double that we got. Because radio stations used to get a lot of radio promo copies. And I have quite a few of those around too. Yeah, well, yeah,
it's behind TJ. Look at TJ's background there.
If I want to go in the other room, I can show you cases and cases and cases of 45, all original 45s.
Yep.
And that's basically how I got started. Boots Bell handed me, here's a record, here's a record. On a Saturday, I might walk out there with a dozen records.
What was his big what was his big saying, Boots Bell?
Yes,
the
indeedy,
booter scooter.
Daddy.
Yes, indeedy, dude. That's it.
Yes, indeedy, duty, daddy.
Yeah.
The booter scooter.
As a matter of fact,
booter
going
scooter,
out,
yep.
yeah, the booter scooter. Matter of fact, if you ever went out to the Idora Park Experience out there in Austintown, I met his son. And we started talking one day, and he asked me who I was. I said, well, I knew your dad. And he goes, well, how'd you know your dad? All I said was Saturday night, Avon Oaks. He goes, you're Rick. His dad talked to him about me. And I didn't have to say anything other than Saturday night, Avon Oaks. He said, you must be Rick.
And that could be a good or bad thing. It's like, well, is that a good thing? Well, you know me by Rick.
Yeah. Well, I made an impression on him. So,
That's
I mean,
good.
that's a good thing like that. He did pass away and stuff like that. I miss him dearly and stuff from the radio stations and stuff like that, which I'm sure he wouldn't be doing it now anyways. But I'm sure you guys probably did the same thing when you were younger. You had the AM transistor radio, the 9-volt battery.
Oh, yeah.
You used to put the earphones in under the covers in bed because mom and dad says, you are not listening to that garbage on the radio station.
We used to ride around in our cars. I'm not going to say what we were doing. Listen to TJ on the radio back in the 70s,
right.
Playing all that hard rock and roll. Yeah.
Yeah. I was talking about the transistor radios back in the 60s, early 60s.
Yeah.
We all listened to WHOT 1330. You got, Boots Bell, Smoochie Causey, Super Dick, The Weather Slick, and then of course WSRD. You had Thomas John rocking on one, and TJ, he could share a few highlights of when he used to. In fact, there's some YouTube stuff going around from the cave in Idora Park. You want to share a little bit of that, Tom?
We used to do. Well, of course, we had the half price sale, which people would line up. In fact, we made a promotional video I found the other day that we had. Right. I don't know where we ran it. But it was sticks, too much time on my hands. And it was the tick, 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 tick. And it was I was just walking down the line of people in line getting ready to get into the half price sale.
I went to many of those.
It stretched 400 or 500 yards. And then they opened and these people would flow in to the old ballpark ballroom. And everything was half price. And it was amazing for the first year. And for 2 or 3 years. There. And then you got a lot of microphones, you got a lot of electronic stuff there.
Yeah.
And then
going back to the HOT days, here's a jog memory over there. Remember the cash card?
Oh, yeah.
And not that long ago, probably a little less than a year ago, I was going through old paperwork and stuff like that upstairs. I found my old cash card from WHOT.
Oh, jeez.
And I'm still waiting for them to call my number so I can win some cash.
All right, TJ, get his number. Give him a call. Whatever.
Call my number. Call my number, please.
Yeah, Money Movie will call you. Rich Morgan will call you. Don't worry.
Oh yeah.
Hey, before we get off topic, I want to get back to Amy a little bit about the Windy 9 and future plans. What's that?
Windy 9.
I do that.
How can you not?
I don't know.
Your mind says
windy.
Windy.
The Windy 9.
Spelled the same. It's spelled the same, isn't it?
It's spelled the same.
Yeah.
It's hard to say for me.
It is, and when I go to Chicago Motorcycle Show, I am more confused when I leave.
It doesn't take that much to confuse me.
Windy, Windy. So I'm sitting here talking. It's like I even forget how we pronounce it because I'm always confused. Because if you listen to yourself say it, so it's like someone just, what did you call it? It's like because I'm here, it's all this. And I said, but you do get some wind in your hair as well. So, but yeah, there's been many a times where I had to stop and rethink, what are we actually called?
You got to change your logo a little bit, put some streets behind it, like winding streets.
There you go. Yeah. So it's just one of those, but you have to admit, it's a great communication starter. So, I mean, when people are looking and you can see them looking at it, it's like, how do I say it? I say, come on over. I'll tell you how to pronounce it. So it's a great way to break the ice, how to introduce it. So yeah, I still get it. But this is what we say. I don't care how you pronounce it as long as you come down and see me. So that's it.
I have to tell you, Greg, I've done the same thing until I started to associate curvy roads, windy road. I used to say windy for a long time until somebody, maybe Amy, said, well, actually, it's windy, Larry. So maybe on your show you could say it right, windy. I said, okay. So, Greg, I've done that a bunch of times, man.
Well, I tell you what, now that I've completely butchered it, you're listening to the Street Scene Power Hour on Buzzsprout or any of your. I'm just going away from that right now. If you're watching this on YouTube, right now you're seeing the landing page of the Windy 9 website.
You got it.
Yeah, so
Give yourself a pat on the back.
Yes, sir.
Amy, explain what's on your website right here.
So what you're looking at is Joel Prince, who works at our office, who does all of our visitors guides. He does all of the photographer. You are looking at, I do believe this is Route 66, or 64, which is the Hocking Hills route. So
love that.
So this is a shot from one, let's see, that was a group that I had in a couple years ago. So Joel will patiently, and we also, Roadrunner has done one for us. It's amazing as well. But this is one of our routes, and this is what one looks like every single turn that you go into. There is not one straight road that we have here. If it is, you're on the interstate, you're on Route 33. So, but this is it's curves. I mean, in and out of curves. Was difficult. 664 at Hocking Hills is a wonderful route, very scenic. It's home to the very well Hocking Hill State Park, Old Man's Cave, Ash Cave, and that'll also take you to Zaleski State Park, which is Zaleski Nipper, which has Lake Hope. So, and it's in a forest base. So each of our routes are connected in some way, but they all look a little different.
And if you're going to go ahead, Rick, sorry.
How far is this from Youngstown?
So you're from Youngstown. So my son went to University of Akron, so I really got to experience the up north area where we're so down this way. So Youngstown, you're going to be about 2.5 hours from me. Okay. So it would take me about 2.5 to get to Akron, the Canton area. So Youngstown, when we're coming in, and it depends which way you come in. A lot of people like to take that 77 and hit Marietta. I said, come down 77, get off of 70 by Zanesville, and come in, and you can hit the Black Diamond route. So right there, you can start the routes instead of being on 77, which is such a long route down through Marietta.
If you go to their website, which you're looking at, you can see they've got, let me pull this up here for Windy 9 maps, road ready, lodging, events. They've got everything you can just pick from on the website and go to and check it out. So again, go to windy9.com and check that out. And, for 2.5 hours from Youngstown, Larry, you can attest to this. What a nice ride on a nice day that would be just to go up there.
Yeah, and if you take 77, that is the quickest way to get down there. But if you want to spend the day riding some loops on your way down, you can come through. You can even take 62. You can go through many little Ohio towns on the way down, or you can come down 77 and jump off onto 39 or get over to Zanesville and take 555 down. There's a lot of ways to do it, but they're all real easy. And we call them one-tank trips. You've got 200 miles or less to get down into any of the staging areas you'd like to.
Yeah. We're going to be decided to do something since we're not going to the show. So we decided to come up with our own little Zoom gathering called Curves Ahead. And of course, it has the windy, road sign. And so we started off by how we got started. Our second one's about group rides, but this one we'll be doing April 28th. We have 4 riders who are coming down next week to ride to just give a report of how our roads are. People are dying to see, if there's gravel on the road, how the roads are, construction. So that will be live on the 28th at 7 o'clock. So that's something that we're doing. And I know people are anxious to get out riding and they want to know how our road conditions are.
That's great. And you know what, from the sign of the weather this year, at least last year, I can honestly say, and I don't know if we can all attest to this, that was the best weather I've ever seen in this area.
It sure was.
Last year.
Sure was.
And we had the stupid coronavirus really rampaging. This year, it looks like we've got a lot of sun already coming. So, take advantage of this.
Right.
You take advantage of the Windy Nine and get out there and ride. Because I know last year my car sat in the garage all year, so we didn't really have much of a year. But
my car was broke down again.
we're used to that, Rick. So your car seems to be doing that a lot lately. Hopefully you'll get it out this year.
Go to that Corvette show over in Sharon. Maybe pick yourself up a good car.
And maybe I win. When was that again? When is that?
April 25th, Sunday the 25th.
Okay,
April
that's next week.
25th.
Yes,
Two
Sunday, April
Sundays.
25th.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So if you're listening to
That
this,
sounds good.
get down to that Corvette show. So, and make sure you still selling your Mustang, Larry.
Oh, no, not unless somebody wanted to give me exactly what I wanted for it. But I may sell the Corvette. I'm getting almost done fixing it. So, but I could never now get out of it what I put into it, of course.
That's normal.
That's
Anything.
That's normal. Yes, it is.
That's why I was thinking about Rick, little Rick.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Little Rick.
You look so good in that Corvette, man. Top down.
No.
Riding the Indy 9.
Always the same.
I'm not a Corvette guy. I'm not a Corvette guy.
Well, you know what? If anybody, you've got Big Rick, and what do you drive, Big Rick?
Well, I got the Anglia. I got my Anglia shirt. I won my Anglia shirts. Anyways, I got a 1948 English Ford Anglia. When I'm driving that, or I'm working on an 87 IROC. There it is, picture of it. Yep. I'm working on an 87 IROC Z28. I've had that for a couple of years working on that.
Ooh, that should be good.
Bought my wife a couple of years ago a 91 RS Camaro. She rides into that, but most of the time I'm riding my van because I'm DJing.
We got an interesting story about that Anglia. Where'd you find that at?
I found that in a coal mine in 1978, right down below Cincinnati on the Ohio-Kentucky line.
Jeez.
In a coal mine. We were down there doing some hunting down there and started getting that rainy, icy stuff. So we stepped into the entrance to a coal mine, and I kept seeing something behind me, sparkling, shining a little bit, from the daylight stuff coming in. Walked back, then the Anglia was sitting back there. Not the way it sits now, naturally. Went back up and talked to the owner of the property that we've always hunted on over there, and he says, "Oh yeah," he said, "if you went a little bit farther, and he would have found more parts." So 2 weeks later, was on a trailer on the way back to Youngstown.
Wow.
And 2 years after that, was on the road.
There's always a good story on that stuff.
So an Anglia is a Ford product, right? Correct.
It's an English Ford. Right. And one of the other pictures I sent you, going back to the early 70s, and I knew what an Anglia was at the time because in the early 70s, probably about 72 and on to 84, we raced an Anglia. There was a picture of a white Anglia. There's a picture of a white Anglia I sent you guys earlier with me when I was in my youth. I guess that's what you called it, the long hair, the whole
throw that in later.
hippie days. And I was standing next to the drag car.
Okay.
That was a big car. That was a big car of the race back then. It was cheap. It was light, and guys loved it. They just chopped them up. Yep.
Basically, almost all your Anglias that are out there were raced at one point or another. A lot of them couldn't go back on the road because they put the straight axles underneath there and the framing work and stuff like that. But there's a few of them that did make it back onto the road.
Mm-hmm.
So we go like Thompson when they have the gasoline, Thompson, stuff like that. I raced with a lot of those guys back then. So I go up there and just, start BSing with them.
Yeah. Always
a good time.
TJ, got a question for you. What shows have you done in the past, and what are you planning to do as far as DJing?
Are we talking about car shows?
Yeah.
Actually, I was very late to this because I did the big bars for so many years, and then about like 8 years of karaoke with Shooting Star after the bars kind of drifted. And then because of the 23 years of doing the cruise, I started doing Valley Cruisers. And I was trying to figure out how long it's been. I don't remember, because it was a number of years at, how long has your show been?
This is what, the 12th year?
12th, yeah.
Okay, so it was 2 or 3 years before that. So that's what I was thinking about, 15 years. Because it was started there with Valley Cruisers and then moved to Chili's at the mall with Valley Cruisers, and then switched over to Old Car Club. That was when they were at Saxon Club. No, before the Saxon Club. They were at what was the name of that place, Rick?
Senior Center.
Yeah, the youth, and then moved to the Saxon Club. And then last summer, Rick started doing the Old Car Club because you combine two shows. Is that what?
Well, Saxon Club called us. They wanted us to do something, and Mahoning Valley Old Car Club, they really didn't want to get involved in anything because of the COVID stuff. So they asked us to do that. Right. Saxon Club ended up at the end of August or something like that, and I got to know Doug, general manager of Buffalo Wild Wings. He begged us to come up there on Tuesday nights after we finished up at Saxon. So I finished out the year at Saxon Club, and Mahoning Valley Old Car Club was invited to come in because they do a lot of charity work and stuff like that for the for the kids and stuff in the area. Right. So we talked with Doug, manager at Buffalo Wild Wings, and I said, come on in and join in. Because when I was doing it, I was basically doing everything myself. I was doing the registering, the 50-50. I had some help with a buddy of mine, Rich. Wow. And I says, come on in. You're more than happy to come in and take some of the pressure off my shoulders.
Yeah, no kidding.
So we're looking for that. I said, and we are starting the first Tuesday in May, but the kickoff cruise is on the 27th at Wedgwood Pizza, Raccoon Road.
Right, because that was always, when I was doing it, that was always the kickoff, and then we moved to wherever we were going to move. So anyway, Rick's doing that now. I'm doing your show. Yep. And I don't really know what else I'm doing. I'm not really concerned either.
Yeah, no. You're kind of you're officially retired now, right? So you can do whatever the hell you want.
Yeah, exactly. I got some class reunions are on tap, and a couple car shows, and if anybody's looking for fill-ins, if you need fill-ins, Rick, give me a call.
I will.
Somebody too. But that 6 months of doing absolutely nothing was my daughter lives in Manhattan, and she has 2 kids, 5 and 3. They closed the schools on March 14th. Well, they moved here, so we had them all summer long, and it was a riot. It was a ball. I mean, for having to be in the house. I'm sure you've all experienced both of those ages, but imagine having those 2 ages. They're completely different. And it was, if one wasn't making you crazy, the other one was. Yeah. And, but it was, never thought about, I swear to God, I don't think I thought about the radio station after the first week.
No.
So you don't miss it then?
No. Oh, no.
You miss the people? You miss the people?
Oh, yeah. God, yes. I miss the people.
When I left my job, go ahead. Oops. Yeah. When I left my job, oh God! When I left my job,
you go.
Well, somebody talk.
When I left my job, I really didn't miss the job at all, but I really missed the people. I had some really good friends over at WKBN, and I always think of them. But the job-wise, I was like, okay, it's time to move on, So
and there's so much less of it where on the radio side. I mean, they literally have 12 people now that run 6 stations.
And, how many were there? How many were there when you first started at WKBN?
129.
Yeah, how many? And now there's what, 12?
How many, Larry?
12 and a lot of computers.
But sports people.
Yeah, the radio business has taken a different turn, obviously, and it's still always turning around. The one thing that pops out at me, TJ, when we interviewed you on another show we do called Loose Change with Jim Evans, and I remember when I was younger. Again, I grew up in the late 70s, 80s. So when we listened to the American Top 40, my buddy got the record mailed to him of the 1982 broadcast, and I thought that was the coolest thing. And then TJ's like, "Oh yeah, I got boxfuls down in my basement." I'm like, "Oh wow!" I thought that was the coolest thing ever. It's like. I just got a few boxfuls of those. See, there.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, that now some of the music, some of the changes in the music business, TJ and Rick, is, we talked about that. The country coming in, rap changed everything. Now, the one thing that, we all know Cornell Bogdan, and the one thing he mentioned of how there's 3 writers. If people don't know this about the music business, back in the mid 90s, it changed of how they release music. It's not, there just like 3 people writing these top 40 songs and just giving them out, getting somebody to make a hit out of it, and then on to the next one. How does that work, TJ?
Well, you look back at the early 70s when the singer-songwriters came along. Because even in the what we think of as our heyday, except for the Beatles, Rolling Stones, a lot of those groups, they were redoing stuff from American R&B.
Yeah.
And but still
big time.
To us, that was the crux of it. I mean, when I remember coming out, if you weren't writing your own music, well, it doesn't count, And then when it went into the singer-songwriters in the early 70s, that just reinforced it. It was like you knew when you watched that guy, he wrote those words. And then that, as you say, by the time we got to the 90s, that was completely gone. I mean, these artists have no clue that they're, and the formula became so formulaic that you could write them for a specific chunk of artists and offer it to 2 or 3 of them, and whichever one of them picked it up, it would become a hit.
And it just turned into a factory almost. A factory. Anybody could pick that up. Yeah. Rick,
and it's weird because you'd think it would go the other way because of the internet. You would think because you can write the song, you can record the song, you can put it on the internet, you don't have to go through anybody.
Yeah.
You would think, and it makes a few stars. Justin Bieber is the classic example, who really started by himself, sitting in a room just like us, doing it into YouTube, and became a monster star. You would think there'd be a million of those, but there aren't.
Yeah.
I mean, really, you can count them on one hand.
Yeah.
There's a lucky few.
Yeah, the lucky few. Rick, have you seen the same thing as far as, being in this business, or are you pretty much, doing your own thing there?
Well, for a while there, back in the 90s and stuff, I was doing a lot of the club stuff, some of the earlier weddings and stuff like that. But like I said, my genre of music is, the oldies.
Yeah.
I'll do some weddings now, like second weddings or something like that. And I don't like doing the new weddings, the 20 plus, the 30 plus year old, because they want all this rap stuff. And I won't play this rap stuff. To be very honest with you, I'm not that familiar with that kind of music.
Exactly. Couldn't if you wanted to.
So I'm doing a lot of the weddings, like the second weddings, like they're getting remarried, I should say, not second wedding, remarried and stuff like that. Well, they still want the club music from the 90s, like the Paula Abdul and stuff like that.
Yeah,
sure.
Which is very popular still, the club music, for, like I said, the second marriages or a second time around, or whatever you want to call it.
Renewing the vows.
Renewing the vows. That's a good word. Thank you for helping me out. I'll write that down. Let me write that down. Like with TJ and stuff, TJ is a little bit more up with that because he had to go with the flow of the different genres of music like that. I didn't have to do that. I stayed with the oldies.
Yeah,
and that's my likings.
And it's funny because I'm in touch with Danny Thomas. You remember Danny Thomas? He ran for mayor in Struthers and used to play at the Jam Bar when I was playing there. And he had a big sign that had a caricature of him and said, "If it's not at least 20 years old, don't even ask." And that was the 80s. And I really went to a great extent. I did 749 weddings. So that was
wow.
And the weird thing is, I thought quite a few years ago, I decided, as Rick says, I'm not gonna do it because these people are gonna come up, the drunken bridal party's gonna come up, and they're gonna want to hear X. And I'm not gonna have any idea what it is, what it sounds like, where it would fit if I had it. And even if they bring it in from the car, I'm not gonna know A, where to put it, or B, whether it's gonna be full of F-bombs. You really
probably
you
will
realize,
be, yeah.
Now we'll see how much we're all the same.
I went through that one time. I did a wedding one time like that. Somebody says, "Oh, you got to play this song. You got to play this song." Never heard of the artist or the song. So all right, I'll put it on. 3 minutes after the song was over, I had 2 grandmothers, one in each ear, just BSing me and stuff like. I was going to say the other B word, but put me down. Say, "Why'd you play that?" Yeah. I said, "I'll never do it again." So that was my only time doing it.
Absolutely.
That's
I learned that lesson and pass it on to anyone who will listen because
That's
what
one thing you
happens
don't
to you.
want. You don't want two grandmas chasing you around.
No.
really. No. Hey, TJ, I've been listening to a lot of blues lately, and I'll tell you what, I never realized how many rock stars took their songs and made them
Oh, absolutely.
big, you know? Zeppelin, you
absolutely.
had Jeff Beck and the Stones and Rod Stewart, just a lot of those guys.
Well, you know,
right?
but basically all those guys in the
Yeah.
late 70s going into the early 80s, you know, they were playing, you know, done the Black Crowes Hard to Handle. I mean, there's so many things that were just were already there. And you know, race radio was long gone. We were playing all the races on the radio, but the blues stuff never really had an outlet until the white groups pick it up. And then you start hearing it from the Stones, and you're hearing it from Led Zeppelin. Led Zeppelin.
Led Zeppelin, yeah.
The Robert Plant book the other day. I mean, they desperately wanted to be an R&B band. I mean, they did not want to be what everybody came to think of them as. I mean, if it was up to them, and it eventually became up to Robert Plant when he went solo, he'll play blues every night. It's not, you know, it's not going to have an edge to it. It's not going to be anything that we would think of as hard rock.
Yeah.
I never realized how much influence they had on the rockers, you know. Dave Mason was in there, a lot of them, you know. A lot of the British guys took it.
It's what they were listening
ran
to
away.
when we were listening to them. You know, it's the same thing. They feel the way about that music the way we feel about what they turned into that music.
Mm-hmm.
And it just rolls until you get to rap, and then anything changes completely. Greg, I'm glad you asked me that question. Now I have an answer. I never really synthesized.
Get a beat
before,
and
that I have,
put some whatever music words to it, and then I guess you can make a song out of it.
Oh God, I hate rap. I can't handle rap and that real twangy country too. I'm not into those two, you know. And I can listen to a lot of music, but those are two I don't like.
I always think of
I'm with you, Rick. I'm with you.
I always think of country as, you know, the country rock now kind of stuff, and then Western music. I always separate those two because I remember, you know, my grandmother used to listen to like Western music of the old, you know, the older artists, and it was just such a different genre.
Western swing.
Yeah.
And what movie was it where they said we have both kinds of music, country and Western? What was that? Blues Brothers?
Yeah.
Was that the Blues Brothers?
Oh, same thing we say now. We have two kinds of music: rock and roll.
Yeah, rock and roll. Yes, sir.
You know, I wanted to get back to Amy here. You know, future plans. Do you have anything what you're thinking of doing in the future with
the Windy Nine? So that is something that we listen to what the writers want. Our next adventure is going to be able to take our routes and be able to do the trail riding. So a lot of our
yes. Sorry.
So,
That's
I don't have enough stress on my table as it is with 12 events coming in, one national rally, and I'm bringing the Walnut Hills. So that's another project because we didn't think he's going to be busy. So I went and started looking for things to do, and now it's like no more. So,
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But that is where it's going. That is where the money is for the businesses as well. So that is where we're going. Hopefully by next year when we hit the routes that we will have that. I'm working with a few people to help advance that because we already have it. You know, we honestly do have the writings outside. In fact, I'm hosting the Christian Motorcycle Association, and it's going to be roads and trails. Majority are staying here in Athens, and the other for the trail is going to be at a campground. So they're bringing them together and they're traveling together. And so that's just like the Wayland Wayne weekend. It's the BMW Trail Riders. They got too big, so they're coming to Nelsonville, camping there, utilizing the hotel. And we're going to put the Windy Night and the trail rides together. So it's a need down here. People want it. It's a great weekend away. And, you know, we have the Wayne National Forest. We have our country roads, our tourism. So that is the next future that we're going. So hopefully by 2022, we'll have another map with all those on it.
Wow.
Do you have sponsors, Amy?
Funny you should ask that because we didn't expect this to be this big. You know, we kind of like, you know, we'll take it. It's a campaign, especially come from a tourism, you know, a CVB, but our map is free. There's only one place that's on it, and it's our Athens Sports Cycle. You're not amazed at how many people have been calling me from New York. You know, insurance companies, can we be put back on your map? We want to be on your maps, but we don't charge anything. We don't charge for advertising. With COVID, because I didn't have a job until July. The only reason I came back was because of motorcycle business. They needed someone to, step up and take it again. So I was, by the grace of God, I came back, and we're busier. This will be one of our big seasons, but we're looking at different adventures. When they come seeking you out and want to be a sponsor, we're going to go with it. So maybe, but it's
good.
With our different, because we're a nonprofit, so that's a license. So we have to grow with the times. But yeah, like Larry said, if you call and request a map, our map's free. We do the patches free, and now we have stickers as well. So we want to, we really haven't hit the marketing scene besides Roadrunner and iHeart, and now you guys. That this is our first thing that we've done. So, but yes, we definitely want to stay with the need of the motorcycle riders and what the needs and wants are.
I want a T-shirt.
That's all right.
That's the funny thing too. We just talked about this in our meeting, because it's like, okay, we're doing the spring cleanup. People are asking, where's the T-shirts? We haven't done that before, and we need to. So we just made a phone call. We're going to make a local person be able to do it, and then our hotels are going to have it too. So I get yelled at, either they want T-shirts, a pin, or something. It's like, well, how about a free patch and a sticker? Does that get me by through next year? So yeah, I mean, so we do giveaway. It's free.
Yeah, people love it. They get involved with it. They want a T-shirt or a hat or something to remember it.
There isn't one show that we go to that first thing out of Rick's mouth, I need a T-shirt. Every show we go to, I need a T-shirt.
I got so many T-shirts.
Rick, okay.
And I always buy them T-shirts too.
Yeah. And I'm the same way. Anytime I go traveling, even through motorcycle shows, I just like to buy something. I have every single motorcycle.
Support them.
Indians. I buy anything I can, because I promote the Windy Nine, but I also just don't promote one motorcycle. I promote everything. So some days I look like I'm not the best fit dresser when I'm walking out. Go over with everything. And I was like, you do not match. Oh well. And so with that aspect, we are looking for it, and like the sponsors, we just, oh gosh, how big is this going to get? What are we going to do? So we're at that growing pain stage where we need to, look outside. But it's just me doing the Windy Nine. I didn't expect this, because I was just in the marketing, the whole county. But this has taken the most need, and I enjoy it. I get to meet so many people from so many different personalities, different things, and to be able to organize the special events that came in, that was not definitely on my job list, but I love it. So I enjoy it. Yeah, because we want to make sure that when you guys come down here, it feels like home to you, so you'll come back.
Good. Real quick, we're pretty much out of time. Amy, information, where you can get information on the Windy Nine.
www.windy9.com, and then you can also email me, Amy S at AthensOhio.com. It comes directly to me. Either way, I get the emails, but you go to our website of the windy9.com, everything's right there.
Excellent. All right. Okay. Larry, you have anything to add?
No, it's good riding season. I think there'll be tons of motorcycle and car events. We've got the Corvette National Convention coming up June 13th through the 16th. There'll be road racing, if you want to, out on the course at Nelson Ledges, drag racing at Dragway 42, also autocrossing. And then, of course, if you like to do tours and traveling, they have tours set up through the various counties and stuff like that. June 27th is the Corvette show at the Packard Museum. And July 30th or 31st, June 27th is at Greenwood Chevrolet. July 31st is at Packard. So those are the two big Corvette shows coming up. And we might just be able to talk the Corvette guys into going down to the Windy Nine.
I'd love to have you. So let me know.
I will.
Well,
thank you, Amy, for coming on.
Oh, thank you. I've enjoyed it. So thanks. It's so nice to hear from everyone. So thank you.
Amy, thank you for joining us. TJ, thank you for joining us. Big Rick.
Thanks, TJ.
We will be seeing TJ at July 25th Street Scene Car and Custom Bike Show. And later on for the cruise down to Quaker Steak and Lube, we'll be seeing Big Rick down there.
He's going to be doing the Niles show too.
Yep,
Aren't you going to be doing the Niles show?
I'll be doing Papa Dave's. I'll be doing.
We'll be there for Street Scene.
Yeah, we'll be there.
Mm-hmm. And for Larry Ward, Rick Guerrera, my name's Greg Roten. We'll see you
down
the road. Thanks for joining us.
Woo-hoo.